Okay,
Okay,
so
so we are live, yeah. Um, Good morning, everyone, or good day, wherever you are. My name is Rafai, and presenting today is Akinpelumi. He has been building a couple of interesting e-commerce solution, and he is going to be sharing some of those things with us today. Hi, Pelumi.
hello, Rufai. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you for bringing me on here. I'm doing great. How are you doing today too as well?
Wonderful. Um, so we want to hear about what you are building and how we can contribute to it. What is Taojaa? So before you go, let me say, is Yoruba right, or he has Yoruba
Yes. This
intonation,
is
right?
Taojaa.
To
That's
sell
sell
market,
market.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I get it now. Oh, yeah, let's go.
Okay, so good day, everyone. I mean, good morning, everyone, from wherever you are. Good day. So my name is Akinpelumi Akinniyi, and I'm the founder and CEO at Taojaa. And Taojaa is basically an e-commerce solution for businesses and web developers across Africa and across the globe. So we've been around for typical a year now. By July 31st to be a year of our official launch. And so far, we've been building solutions to simplify digital commerce for Africans across the globe. So whereby you can simply start building amazing e-commerce experience for both your customers, your clients, for anything that you are tailored to building an e-commerce solution for. So Taojaa basically help you set up. Initially, we launched with a version that helps you set up an online store where you can actually just upload your products, get orders, and manage your orders across and what's it called, your sales channel and every other platform. But over time, we've learned from our what's it called, early stage adopters, our customers, and understand deep dive into the what's it called, problem that people are having when building e-commerce solution, and understand how we can actually tailor our solution to solving those problems, which is why we are building Taojaa storefronts, which is a developer tool to build amazing e-commerce experience, to customize your e-commerce experiences for your customers, tailored to your industry, tailored to your target audience, and tailored to whatever integrations that you are willing to build using the Taojaa tools. So I will just basically show us a few part of what it is that we've developed over the years to before we now come to building this particular tool that we are working on right now. So as a business or as a developer that wants to build an e-commerce solution using Taojaa, you basically just need to create an account on our platform and create what's it called, have a store on our platform. So this store provides you with the opportunity to use what's it called, our headless APIs to build your own customized storefront, or use our own integrated storefront, so where you can actually use the Taojaa CLI and the Taojaa what's it called, affluent skeleton and all those other stuff. So, and one very interesting part about what we are building is that it is open source, which means other developers outside the globe or from anywhere can come and contribute to whatever it is that we are building, making it better for every other person across the ecosystem. So, like I said, to get started with Taja, all you basically just need to do is to own an account as a business. So the account provides you a store admin where you can actually do basic things like managing your adding products, adding items, or invoicing and all of that. So which is what I'm currently going to show us right now. Okay. So right there is my online store. So this is basically a development store just for me to develop maybe storefronts or teams and every other thing I want to customize for e-commerce platforms. So you can see we have the overview section and all of that. So the basic part where we're actually going is the online store section, where you can actually build themes for your online store. can build teams or build like headless storefront for your online store. So this is like examples of available teams that are already built on this particular store right here. And one part of it is that these teams are customizable. You can either customize it the way you want it to look or the way you want it to be, and you can as well just integrate it with your store when you are building. So another part is that you can use existing teams or teams that are available on the platform that are being developed by other developers, because there's going to be like a developer marketplace or a team marketplace where people can create teams for businesses to use on Taojaa. So you can simply just head to maybe like a team store to get a particular team that you want to buy or that you want to use and all of that. So but in order to develop the team, we've created a tool like I mentioned, which is a CLI tool on Taojaa. So this CLI tool is an open source project that we've created for developers to build any e-commerce solution or e-commerce what's it called plugins or applications, stuff integrated stuff from using Taojaa infrastructure. So and to get started with this particular CLI tool, I'll just basically give it a little bit of detail into what the CLI tool entails. Basically, the CLI tool is built using a Node.js what's it called application. So anybody that is actually familiar with Node.js can actually contribute to this project and can also use this project in building what's it called any solution or anything they want to build on Taojaa. So the project is built using Node.js, like I mentioned, and the prerequisite to get started with this particular tool is just for you to have a Node.js installed on your system. So that is basically all you need to get started. So and to start using this tool, you just need to install it using this command. You need to install it globally using this command on your local machine. So I'll just head straight to my machine now. So let me open my command prompts, and so all you need to do is just to install this tool with the global flag, which is -G, in order to install this particular tool. So I already have Node.js installed on my local machine. So once I run, and by default Node.js comes with an npm, which is the Node package manager. So once I run this command, it's going to install the CLI application on my system. So the installation is currently going on. Now my CLI tool has been installed. So if I run a command like this Taojaa on my CLI, so I'm going to see the list of available commands that I can use on this particular project. So you can see we have the init command for you to initialize a new project. Either you're building an app or a team, or you're building a plugin on Taojaa. So you can just use this init to initialize the project, and you specify the project type and then the name of your project. So we have the team command. This is basically for when you are building teams. There are different actions you can perform, like push, pull, publish, validate, and other kind of team actions when you're building a team. So you can push a team from your local storage after development. You can push it to your store that you're building it for. You can also push it to the what's it called, the team marketplace. You can also just publish it to the team marketplace. Then we have the clone, for you to clone an existing team. Let's say, for example, you purchase a team from other developers that have already created a team on the marketplace, and then you want to customize that team. You want to change the feel, you want to change the look, so you can clone an existing team or an existing app or plugins. You can either clone any of those. And then the authenticate command is just for you to authenticate your CLI access to the Taojaa server, so that anytime you're running all those commands that requires you to access the server, you won't have to keep authorizing yourself, or you won't have to keep being logged out at every time. And then the help command, which is basically what I use in showing all these what's it called um information. And then you can also run the help command on any of these commands. For example, Taojaa init, and then you run -help. So it's just going to show you the available options or resources. For example, if I run team help, so now you can see the available options on the team. Says you can use the name flag, the store flag, the version, the publish, and all of that. So that is basically how to install the Taojaa CLI tool on your machine. So before we move on to building any project, I would also like to show us the whenever you are trying to build maybe a team on Taojaa, we already created a skeleton that you get started with, like a boilerplate, so that you won't have to start creating your folder structure, your file, and anything from scratch and all of that. So the same thing applies to apps and plugins. So we are going to have like a wrapper or like a skeleton that you have to get started with to bootstrap your development process. So you won't have to start all the way from scratch. So I will show us, for example, when you're building a team, we already have a wrapper that is called Affluent, which is more like a default team structure, a default template structure. So Affluent is basically um, a default theme or a boilerplate theme for you to get started with. So, and this Affluent consists um, everything concerning your team information or concerning the kind of team you are trying to develop. So, and this the folder structure, this is the structure of this particular Affluent project. We have the asset folder where most of the assets are going to be located, for example, and then we have the component structure where you have like reusable set of codes or snippets that you can always reuse at every point in time. For example, you have the loader, you have the quick view, you have a lot of things that you can reuse across your project. So you don't have to create all those things at every instance when you need them. So you can just create a component and embed that component in your particular page. So but before we look deeply into this folder structure, what we are going to be showing us today is how to create an integrated storefront on Taojaa. For example, I would like to show us this particular storefront right here. I'll just visit a view our site to view a particular site here. To build an integrated storefront on Taojaa using the Taojaa CLI. So this is the storefront for this particular development store I'm currently working with. So this particular team was developed by using the Taojaa CLI tool, the Taojaa storefront tool, and then you can see my information are on this particular page. So for example, the collections, the navigations, you have your carts, you have your login and registration, you have like your featured collections information, you have your product, and then you have your hero section. So all this information are basically coming from your store admin where you've imputed them. So for example, we have the banner section where you can see all the banners on my own page. So if you go to the page, you can see that all the banners are available there on this particular section. And then you can see, for example, I have navigation section where you can create your own navigation and customize it the way you want it to look. For example, we have the home, shop, catalog terms. And then if you go to the page, you can see the same thing what are available on my store right here. So basically, in order to build an online storefront using the Taojaa CLI tool, once you've installed the CLI, you just need to initialize a team project or a storefront project, which is the team project, and which is why you need this particular Affluent skeleton. And then there's a structure or there's an engine that has been created just for you to be able to build this particular project locally and test it locally. So this structure right here, which we are using, is powered using handlebars. So most especially when you are familiar with handlebars, you won't have issues building storefront team, integrated storefront team on Taojaa. So because the structure and everything is using the handlebars. And then an addition to that is that handlebars do not provide you with a lot of helpers or a lot of what's it called logics in order to build project with handlebars. But we've created a section or a part where you can actually um create helpers, or we've created helpers that can help you build and perform different kind of logics in your applications, so which we are going to show us through along the line. Then okay, so for component section, then the next section in this particular folder is the config section, where you can actually put your theme settings or your storefront settings. So for example, we have the preset section. This is where you can actually set something like your default colors, your default font sizes, your default text sizes, your default what's it called, customization and all of that. So everything are available in this particular settings, and this settings is going to be injected into your storefront application. where you can actually just access them and use them in your storefront application. For example, you can say I have like my newsletter pop up, my title, my description, and if I go to maybe any of my section where I have newsletter, pop up, I can see. So this is me accessing those configurations or those settings inside my view files or my partial files, my partial layout files. So this is for configuration. So that is how configuration has been handled. And then the next part is the layout section where you actually define the layouts you want to use for your page. For example, I have a different layout for my own page on this store, and I have a different layout for my catalog or my shop on this store. So if I go to shop now, it's going to use an entire a different layout entirely for my catalog. So this particular layout is different from the one on my home page. So now this catalog is using a catalog layout, and all those things are defined in my particular layout folder. So if I open this particular catalog layout, you can see I have my layout structure, and then it's injecting every content inside my page, and then the same applies for the main section too as well, which I use for the home page. So the same thing happens there. I have my layout structured, and then my content is being injected into this particular page. So that's content. You should be able to see where content is being injected right into this page. Okay. Yes, I'm just trying to look for it. Yes. So we also have the log session where you just keep the log of your activities or your maybe issues that you probably having, and then you can see the logs, and then you can see what is wrong with your team or your storefront, and then you can fix it on go. So and then the sections is just basically where you add like your partial views. For example, my home hero section is a partial view, and this is it right here. And then my feature collection is another partial view. So my feature product is another partial view which I use on my page. So if I go back to the home page right here, you can see all those partial views which I'm using on my storefront page. So we have this home hero section, we have the feature product section, and we have the feature collection section, and then this um footer and then the header are part of my layout views. So which is basically how that works. And then the last part in this particular folder is the template section. So this template section is actual configuration of for each and every route or every page that you have on that particular storefront application. So for example, we have the home page or the home.json file, which is managing your home routes, which is mapped to your home route or your home page route. So this is where you define whatever it is that you want to see on that particular page or on that particular route. So, and then the first structure in this particular configuration file, this template file, is your layout. So you specify which layout you're using, which is the main layout. And then we have the section. So this section is where you define all the sections that will be available on that page. So initially we have the hero section, and then we have the feature product section, and we have the feature collection section and latest blog post section. So, and if you look at each and every section, they have like their own configurations and settings. So basically the type is where you define the partial view or the partial file that you are using, which is located inside your section folder. So I'm using an home hero section in this particular section. So if I go inside that folder again, you can see we have home hero section right here. And then you can also define widgets. So for example, you want to have an heading widget within that home hero section. You want to have like a navigation widget, which is your header nav, all those things you're seeing. You want to have it within that particular section. So you can define the widgets that you want to have available. So this is just for you to customize your um your view or your partial view file. So and all this information too as well are available within your view file. They are available within your section file. For example, this is feature product section. Then here I'm setting the type, which is the feature product type. Then the settings, which I'm using the padding top, the title, best selling, subtitle, customer favorite, and description. So if I go into my section folder and I look for my feature product section, so I can see me accessing that particular section settings here. So section settings, subtitle, section setting title, and also just the likes and all of that. So that is for the section part. And then another part in this particular place is the order. So this order is just to tell um your what's it called, your page, or tell the engine to order how you want to render your section. So for example, I want the home hero to come first, then the feature product next, and the feature collection too as well should follow next. So and then if you go to my home page, you can see the particular view is following the same structure: the home hero first, feature product next, and the feature collection is coming last. So for example, if you don't want to display any of those particular sections, you can basically just leave it out and not add it to that section. So if you go back there, you can say I have the latest blog post section, which is not located in my order file. So, and that is why it's not showing on the page, because I didn't want to display it. So that's why I just leave it out from this particular order section. And then the last part is the data part, where you actually specify the data that you want to request for that particular route or that particular page. So for example, I'm on home page, and then I need my banners, I need my products, I need my featured collections and my featured products. So I can just specify that within this particular template configuration and say, okay, these are the data I need. And then if you go to, let's say for example, I go to featured products again, you can see me accessing a key called featured products right here, because those are the kind of data that are already specified in my template view. So, and by default, there are some predefined or globally accessible data you can access from anywhere, like your store information, your collections, your navigations, and all of that, which are globally accessible. But you can also specify the kind of data you want, and then you can customize the way those data are coming to your storefront in order to avoid maybe data overloading and some other stuff. So that is that particular section for home, the home dot or the data section. I mean, so feature products, feature collections, and then you can customize the way they are coming. For example, you want to add a pagination, and say, okay, you only need 10 of this product per page. So anytime you switch to a new page, you're just going to fetch the product with what's it called, with what's it called, the same next set of items that are supposed to come with this particular configuration. So that is for the template folder configuration, and the same thing applies for every template view you are seeing here. For example, you have the carts page. So if you go into the carts, you can see it's using a main carts file or a main cart section, which is located inside my section folder. I have the main carts right here. So this is my main cart, and then you can see me rendering another partial layout, which is the main cart items here. So these are just helpers to perform some logic. For example, I want to render a particular partial layout, which is also located in this section folder, main cart items. I can use the render helper. So all these helpers too are part of the storefront engine, the engine that is powering the storefront, which is the handlebars engine. And then we also have like the component. So for you to just load a component from the component section in this component folder right here. So and then we have the form helper, which is for you to create like forms on your page, action forms. So those action forms, because every action you are performing has an action route, and then those we have like a predefined form for every action. So for example, you want to calculate shipping cost, there's a form that handles that particular section that takes the information from that. And then we also have other forms too for like add to cart, change product, update cart item, and all those other things. So the header group has its own configuration from the section, have its own configuration from the particular what's it called section folder. And then the header group, in order to load a section, a JSON section in your application, you just need to use the section helper. So for example, this other section that I'm loading this in my layout. So we look for other section here. Header group. So okay, so this is just me loading a particular JSON section file using the section helper here, section other group. So all these things are part of what are going to be available on the documentation. And then this is me putting my page contents coming from my template into this particular page. So that's basically the folder structure for this default skeleton, or this default team that you'll be developing with when you're building a team on Taojaa storefront. So, and then we'll just go straight ahead to build a new team or a new project for our store. And then the first thing to do is to authenticate our CLI access. So, like I showed us the other time. So there's a command that says Taojaa authenticate. So this Taojaa authenticate is just for you to authenticate your CLI access. So for you to authenticate your CLI access as a developer or a partner on Taojaa that is trying to build, so you just need to run Taojaa authenticate command, and then it's going to ask you for your access token. So this access token is going to be created anytime you create a partner account on Taojaa. So in order to build any applications or teams, you need to create a partner account, more like a developer account on Taojaa. So you just need to put in your access token. So I'm just going to use access right here, and then secret key, which is going to be secret right here. So now authenticated successfully. So anytime you're running any other command on Taojaa, you will need to re-authenticate yourself at every point in time when you're running new command. So now I'll just go ahead to initialize a new team project or a new storefront team project using, let's say, Taojaa init. So you specify the type of project you're trying to initialize. We have the team project, then you specify the name. Let's just call this it's um beautiful team or something. It's a beautiful team. Let's call it beautiful team. So you can see it says creating new team using Affluent, which is the default what's it called, skeleton for creating a new team. So cloning into beautiful team. So this might take a few seconds due to internet connection or something. So it's currently cloning the project. So this is taking some kind of time. This is a network connection issue. Let me just go ahead again. See this. Let me restart my terminal and then start again. So Taojaa team init team say cosmetics. Let's use another name. Cosmetics. I'm still connected. Okay, I hope I'm still connected because okay. The network is a bit tricky. Okay, all right. So I think there's an issue. You can see right here. I need to run the command again. I'll just use bash instead. So let me just Taojaa next team. So, financial financial stores. So make sure internet is working fine. Yeah, internet is fine. Okay. Yeah, finally. So team initialize successfully and then starts building amazing. So by now in our directory we should have a folder called cosmetics. So I can just go into this directory and say cosmetics, cosmetics, cosmetics. Yes. So then we have then if I do dir in this directory, you can see my default structure file, the template, the section, the readme, the logs, the layouts, config, component, asset, and every other files that are located there. So I'm going to open this in my editor code. Yes, I hope we can also just let me extend this a little bit. So now we can see our boilerplates for the theme is now ready. So and then after the installation, there's a command that comes. Okay, so after the installation, you can see it says to start the app. We have Taojaa run dev, so to start the app. So I'm just going to go ahead to run this app right on my local. So there's a command you can use Taojaa team dev right here to run the command, the application. So run Taojaa team dev. So he asks you that a development store is required. So which means which store are you trying to develop for? You need to specify and also specify some other information that might be needed. So for example, Taojaa team dev, then the store name will be, so the store name will always be the base name of your store domain. So which is Akin's footwear. So I'm just going to specify that information here. So which is my store name, and then I'm going to run this. So you specify the team name. So in order to specify the team name, you just specify name and then you call it as cosmetics. All right, so now we can see the command saying access on your local at http 22157. So I can access this particular app now. This particular app is running and I can access it on my local host 2157. And then if I want to view this particular team on my development store, I just need to run the command Taojaa team push, then the store name. So it's going to push the team directly to my development store. So I'm just going to go to my local host at this particular port to access the application. So let's see this on my local host. Network is a bit slow. Okay. All right. So now my app is currently running on my local host 2157. So and then this is what I have in my default theme project or in my default theme file, and then the information and everything that I am using are also coming from my development store, which is this particular store we are using right here. You can see the header shopping and all of that. So if you decide to change something here on this particular section, like maybe delete this term, just delete and you save and you go back to your application because it's synced with your online store. So you just sorry, I have terms right here. So this should not be there. Alright, so now you can see the terms is no longer there because the application is currently synced with your development store. So anything you do on your development store reflects on this particular app. So this is basically how to start a new team project for a particular store on Taojaa. So you can decide to customize this particular theme and make it look the way you want. For example, I want to change the order of this particular theme. I can basically just go to the templates on my home.json file, and then I'll say the feature product should come first. Say the feature product should come first and then the heroes should come next. Save this and then go back to my local host, refresh the page. Okay, so now we can see my featured product section is at the top, which is coming first. And then you have your hero section, then you have your featured collection section. So the same way you can just basically based on your configuration change anything in your theme, like this summer collection on feature product. I want to change it to new launched products, newly launched collections, newly launched collections. Let's save this and go back to my page and refresh this. Okay, so if I go back there, I can see we have newly launched collection right here. So, and those templates or those themes are the configuration that will be used to edit the theme on the theme editor when the customer or the owner of the store that you're developing for wants to change some information, like for example, they want to change this title and all of that. So they can basically use the theme editor, which we are currently still developing, to customize the theme or a particular theme. So let me show that part. So I'm going to load this. Yeah, so this is the theme editor, and then you can see it's using all the information in your particular template engine. So this is another store, for example. So it's using all the information on that template file to customize the editor to as well in order to see what you can develop. So this is the hero section. You can see my type slideshow, feature product section, all the information you have on this section. The padding top, you can see the future collection section too as well, summer collection, and you can change all this information and save them. So this is currently in development. So you can change the shop page, you can decide to change the product page, you can decide to change any of those pages. You have the blog page, search and article and all those things. So all those configurations from inside the templates file are what are going to be used to customize the theme when the user or the end user or the owner, they don't have to like reach out to developers when they want to change something, so they can basically just use the editor to change the content of the page and everything themselves. So that is for the theme engine. So let's say for example you are done building a theme on your store and then you want to push it to your development store, and you want to push the team to your development store. So all you basically just need to do, so I'm going to open just a new terminal here. All you basically just need to do is to run the Taojaa team push command, like Taojaa team push. So which means you are pushing this team. You specify the store you're pushing for, Akin footwear, and then you specify the store name, the team name. I mean, so let's say cosmetics. That's the team name. So I'm just going to push. Then you can also specify, because we have like there's a version control system where you can also specify the version you are trying to push. Maybe you have like a version 1 or version 2 of that team, so you can do that. But by default, if you are not specifying the version, it automatically resolve into version 1.0.0, which is version 1.0. So I'm just going to push. Then it's currently bundling your team. Then it's done bundling, and then it's pushing it to the store. Okay, so team has been pushed successfully. So the team has now been pushed. Then you can head straight to your online store. On your team section, you should see a new team called cosmetics. So right here, you can say I have a new team called cosmetics, and then the current version is version 1.0. So I can decide to activate this team. Let's say publish. So team has been activated. So it has been set to my active team. So if I go back to my online store now, I should see that team as my default team. It should be what I should see on my page. Okay, so now you can see what I have here. Best selling. You can see the other customer products. Then you have the newly launched collection compared to what we have on the store before. So, and then also there are like features like currency switch on the application, like localizations where you can just change currencies and all the other stuff. So now it's showing me my price in dollars, and then you can change between other currencies like the pounds. Now it's showing me the price in pounds. Then I can set back to naira. Then I can see my item price in naira. So this is just basically building an integrated storefront using the Taojaa seller tool. So that's another instance is that, let's say for example you purchase a team on the store or on the platform, on the team store, the team marketplace, and then you want to customize it locally. So after adding that team to your store, let's say for example you added this particular team. After adding it to the store, you just need to do is to run the clone command. So I'm just going to maybe clone a particular team that is already existing before on the team. So for example, I have this fashion house. So let's say I want to clone that particular team and I want to manage it locally. I want to keep it locally. Let's use the same directory. So I'll just do team Taojaa team. Oh, sorry, Taojaa clone. Then you specify what you're cloning team. So you might want to clone an app or a plugin. So Taojaa team clone. Then you do the name of the team. Name is fashion. So the name has to be in lowercase, no space, fashion house, or it can either be the same way it is on the store. So, and then you can have your store name, Akin's footwear. So before you can do all of this, you must have been granted access to that particular store. For example, if you're an external developer, you must have been granted access to that store, so you can clone the team and customize it. So now just to run this command. Let's say cloning fashion house from Akin's footwear. So team clone successfully. So you can see in my directory I have a folder called fashion house, which is the team that I have on my existing store, the existing team I have on my store, and then you can see the team details right here. You have the name, fashion house, you have the fashion, you have the store name, and then enable logs, which are your team setting, basically your team setting. So what this team.json does is that anytime you are making a change to a team and you are pushing on the terminal, you might not need to specify, you might not need to add the option come out the fashion house. Okay, so anytime you are running the Taojaa team command, Taojaa team push or pull command, you might not need to specify maybe the name directly from this terminal. You can just basically push, pull, and do any other thing because you already have this detail file, the team.json file inside your folder directory, your team folder directly. So team pulled. So this is pull. So team update pulled successfully. So for example, if they make any change using the team editor, it's going to update the team folder itself. So you can actually just pull the updates directly into your local project or the one you have here using the team pull command. Then if you made additional changes, you can just do team push, and then it's going to push bundle your team and run the push command. So that's how the team push pull command and clone and everything works on Taojaa. So and then for versioning, in case you want to like version your project and all of that from the terminal, you can basically just specify the version. So let me go back to this cosmetics and create a new version. Cosmetics. Let's go back to cosmetics. So just to create a new version, let's so the initial version is 1.0.0, so I can just decide to do 1.0.1 of this, and then maybe I want to add a little change. Let's say this is um nearly collection. Let's use this section, customer favorites, cosmetics version 1.0.1. Then I'm going to save this. Then I'll run my team push command right here. So it's currently pushing to the team store. It'll take a few seconds, and then once it's done, we can go back to our store to check the new available version. I think this is taking some time because of this. I think I'm going to remove. Sorry, I have to like remove this. So it's so I'm going to run the command again. Target team push. Okay, so my team has been pushed. A new version has been pushed. So if I go back to my store and then I just refresh this page, I should have another version for cosmetics. So if I click on this, you can see now I have version 1.0.1, and then I can publish this because the current version is 1.0. We have 1.0. So now this has been published. So if I go to my store, I should see the change saying customer favorite version. All right, so now you have customer favorite cosmetics version 1.0. So yes, that's basically how to build integrated storefront. And maybe on the next session, whatever we are going to be showing will be how to build headless storefronts using your own kind of framework, the likes of Next.js, Svelte, Vue.js and other kind of frameworks that you can actually just build using the storefront API, because we already have like another we have like an headless solution or an headless what's called API solution that can help you build with React or any framework of your choice. So Mr. Rufai, thank you very much. I think I've shared enough information or
Yeah,
details
thank
on.
you very much for the presentation. That was really extensive. Um, can you share the link um, to the repo
Okay,
for the one on public on GitHub,
okay,
so that people can go through that and check. Um, Let me see if there are people with questions for us.
okay,
So while we are waiting for that, I have a question of my own. So
okay.
once we use the storefront and we have generated our template, um, how do we deploy? Um, yeah.
Okay, so I mean the deployment process is pretty simple, just using one of those commands that are available in that particular stuff. So for example, you can see the way I deployed my team using the push command just to push to that particular store and all that. So it's basically simple using the CLI tool. So you can just do that when you are done with your integration and then just use the team command. So but you must make sure you have access to that particular store you are developing for, and also make sure you're authenticated to the Taojaa server so you'll be able to deploy.
So does this deploy like a multi-tenant service kind of thing on your own infrastructure, or um, they can take it out onto their own server, etc?
Okay, so if you want to build using what's it called, maybe another server, or build on your own server, like for example, you want to build using Docker and the likes. Also, basically, all you need is just the CLI tool. So you just need to install the CLI tool on any server you are trying to deploy on, and then once you build that project and then you run it, so it's already going to authenticate with your store and everything like that. So that's how simple it is to deploy to.
Hmm, that makes sense. Um, I think that is all for now.
Okay.
Um, Makes sense. So I'm going to go and play around with this.
Okay.
There's definitely need to invite you so that we can talk about the second half of this presentation and conversation.
Okay.
So we'll rally around that. All right. So far,
Okay.
so good. Thank you very much for your presentation. We are going to end this stream in now.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Looking forward to